Hello, it is so great to see you. I feel like it has been forever, and it has been a while. I had some technical difficulties with my website and had to work with several help desks to try to figure it out. And then the holidays thrown in there, and then my daughter had ACL surgery. Anyway, I'm back. I'm ready to get back into it, and I want to share with you some information about the thyroid today. And I've written a blog post on it with more detail than I'm going to go into here, but not, I still tried to keep it at the 30,000 foot level instead of digging into the weeds, because once you start going the rabbit hole of learning about the thyroid and then learning about the thyroid hormones and all the different things and the conversions and the cell absorptions and all of these things, it can get kind of crazy. And I am not a doctor, so I wanted to keep it to the 30,000 foot level for you so that you can get enough information to go talk to your provider should you want to. I also have a free gift for you. I created a thyroid journal for you for free so that you could check at home if you think you're having any thyroid issues. The directions are in the journal on how to do that. Also, it contains different trackers in there for symptoms and for medications. You just reprint the pages for the months that you want to repeat. The thyroid is not a quick fix. It's not a one and done thing. It's a constant assessment and feedback loop that we're in. The changes that we make, we're not going to see the results tomorrow in our bodies, but we will 6 months from now. We will a year from now. So just know that if you're having thyroid issues or you think you're having thyroid issues and you go to the doctor, take some data with you. And this thyroid journal is a great way for you to take some of that data and communicate it to your health provider. So I hope you pick up my free thyroid journal. So what I'm going to go into here is just a high overview of the thyroid. Like I said, my blog post at www.karenczink.com will have a little bit more detail about the whole thyroid hormone conversion process for you, still at a higher level view, but you'll be able to understand everything and be able to understand a little bit more about what's going on in your bodies. So with that said, I'm going to jump in. The reason I picked this subject is because it is something that I had an issue with and still have an issue with. And it is very hard. It was very hard for me within my medical community to get anybody to listen to me and to understand how truly bad I felt. A lot of times they would throw pain meds at me, when they don't know what to do. Oh, here, take this, take that, take this, take that. Oh, your labs look okay. I don't know why you can't get out of bed in the morning. I don't know why you're experiencing, chronic constipation or why you can't put one foot in front of the other or stay awake all day. So I'm going to go over some things here that hopefully get your interest piqued on it, and you can read my blog post and then download my journal and go talk to your provider after you've gathered some data. Many of us feel bad. I felt bad. I had a list that was like this long of all the things that I felt were not right. A lot of times I just knew things weren't right, but I didn't know. When I went to the provider and I would tell them, well, this feels off and this feels off. It's kind of like you just feel bad or icky or sick. You should be feeling better, but you don't, but you can't necessarily express why. The things that used to work for your body, like for me, for example, in losing weight, stopped working. Just boom. Everything that's always worked for me for all these years, just out the window. Functions in my body that used to work don't work anymore the way that they used to. And I don't feel good. I just feel icky. I feel frustrated about the whole thing. Well, the first thing I would say to check is your thyroid. Your thyroid is responsible for an awful lot in your body. And if your thyroid's got a problem, you've got a problem. So like I said, this is a shallow dive. I'm not meant to be a doctor. I'm not meant to have a comprehensive list of things for you here. My purpose is to familiarize you with some of the terms, some of the process, so that you can better communicate with your health provider should you go to see one. And I want you to not have to have a medical degree to understand what we're talking about. So I hope you can get a good idea from this video where you can start. If you want to find out if you think your thyroid's a problem, I'll give you some places to start. Okay, so first of all, what is your thyroid? Men and women both have thyroids. Okay, it's a gland in our neck. It's part of our endocrine system. But did you know that women are 10 times more likely than men to have thyroid problems? 10 times, yep. But men do have problems also. I'm not just talking to women here, although the majority of people that have problems are women. I'm talking to men too. You're going to experience a lot of these things. So what is our thyroid and what's it do exactly? Well, it's a butterfly-shaped gland that sits at the base of your neck in front of your throat. It's about 2 inches long, and it has 2 sides on it, kind of like butterfly wings. So it kind of looks like a butterfly. And these 2 sides are called lobes, and they're connected. They're on either side of your windpipe, and they're connected by the isthmus. So what does this gland do? It has a huge job. It's responsible for regulating all of the hormones our bodies need to perform our vital functions. From regulating our breathing, our heart rate, our metabolism, our blood pressure, to our moods, it can interact with every cell in our bodies. It is important that our thyroid health be good for us to be healthy. If our thyroid is not operating, virtually every aspect of your health can be affected. That's not to say that every symptom or every health problem that you have is related to the thyroid, although a lot of media would have us think that. Thyroid health is big business, let's face it. So, excuse me, it is important that you consider it, but it's not always going to be the answer. But what are some of the things controlled by the thyroid? Metabolism and weight, hair growth, energy levels, moods. It controls other hormones in our body, fertility, focus and concentration, body temperature regulation, heart rate, women's menstrual cycles, all of those things, and that's not all. It has a part in almost every function in our body. So I'm not going to go into exactly how it works. I have a little bit of a high overview of that in my blog post, but I am going to go on to why do we think women are more affected? Women are more affected by thyroid problems because of women having a higher incidence of autoimmune issues, because of the relationship between thyroid hormones and the hormones that fluctuate during the menstrual cycle for women. And at different phases in a woman's life, as their hormones fluctuate, their thyroid health may fluctuate also. And also, if you've gone through menopause, there's a huge thyroid impact to that. Again, hormones fluctuating, thyroid health fluctuating. So 1 in 8 women are going to develop a thyroid disease in their lifetime. And it's thought that 15 more women are experiencing thyroid issues, but are not aware that the thyroid is what's actually causing their problems. And a lot of them think it's menopause or perimenopausal symptoms, when really it's a thyroid problem. And I would say the same is true for men. There's probably men out there who think they have one problem and they're really having a thyroid problem. So it's really hard to tell how many people are truly affected. And we're seeing problems in younger women especially more nowadays than ever before. And I'm going to talk about why that is here in just a few minutes. There are 5 very common thyroid disorders: hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's disease, Graves' disease, and thyroiditis. And I'm just going to do a quick explanation of these, and then I'm going to focus on the 2 most common that cause people the most problems. Okay, and by the way, you can move from one to another. Just if you're hypothyroid, you can be hypothyroid eventually also. This is a moving target here. You can go from one to the other, and you can also be healed from it. So there are different issues to consider in all this, and hopefully this gets you started on that path to looking into it. But hyperthyroidism, also known as the overactive thyroid. So hyper, too much. The thyroid produces too much thyroid hormone. Symptoms include excessive sweating, high heart rate, palpitations, your menstrual cycle changes, hair loss, insomnia, anxiety, weight loss, tremors. You might have a goiter here, and frequent bowel movements. It can also affect, your eyes and all sorts of things, but everything is just hypered in your body. Hypo is the exact opposite. It's underactive thyroid. The thyroid does not produce enough thyroid hormone. Symptoms will be covered here in a minute because that's one of the 2 most common that I'm going to talk about. The third one is Hashimoto's disease. This is an autoimmune disease. It's where the immune system attacks thyroid cells as if they were a virus or a foreign body or a bacteria in our body. So basically, as an autoimmune, the body attacking itself. Inflammation causes inflammation in the thyroid, which causes a leak initially, resulting in excess thyroid hormone. So initially, you're like hyperthyroid, and then it goes, eventually the inflammation causes the thyroid to not perform properly and not produce enough, so then you go into hypothyroid. So hypothyroid and Hashimoto's disease can go together, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute. Symptoms include fatigue, sluggishness, increased sensitivity to cold, in addition to insomnia, dry skin, anything else that's a symptom for hypothyroid, you've got that too. And sometimes even hyperthyroid if you're in the beginning stages of Hashimoto's. The 4th one is Graves' disease. This too is an autoimmune disorder resulting in the overproduction of thyroid hormones, so hyperthyroidism. But Graves' disease is one of the main causes of hyperthyroidism, but it can affect anyone, and it's common among women and people younger than 40. But I will say the people that I've known that had it have all been over 40 and men. So it's kind of interesting. Symptoms are wide-ranging. Think all the symptoms of hyperthyroid, and you can have the bulging eyes, thick red skin on the shins or the tops of your feet. It has dermatological responses in your body too. And that's another autoimmune condition that links with hyperthyroidism. Swelling, thyroiditis, which is swelling, inflammation of the thyroid gland. Hashimoto's thyroiditis is, the Hashimoto's with the swelling gland. It causes unusual high or low levels of hormones in the body. So any inflammation in your thyroid gland can shift your thyroid health to one or the other, hypo, or an autoimmune condition. So your thyroid health is critically important. So the 2 biggest and a lot of times most overlooked medical conditions is Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which I'm going to refer to as Hashimoto's, and hypothyroid. And these 2 are some of the most common. When you first go to the doctor with these, what happened to me when I went was, I was basically told there's nothing wrong with you. And then they throw some drugs, random drugs at me to help alleviate symptoms. But my blood work was fine. I eventually got so desperate because I was thinking I was crazy. And you know what? You're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're just asking the wrong people for answers. I eventually read a book by Suzanne Summers. There was a resources section in the back. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. I ended up booking an appointment with a doctor up in Denver who specializes in thyroid functioning and hormones. And he did 15 vials of blood worth of testing on me. I went back a couple weeks later when all that came back, and he sat me down and says, you have this, this, and this is what we're going to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not crazy. He is also, by the way, the first one to mention, I think you have lupus, which set me on the path to be connected with a rheumatologist years later. 2 years later, actually, I finally got my first rheumatology appointment, and it had been 7 years I had been complaining about my lupus symptoms before I got diagnosed. So I really thank that hormone doctor up in Denver for listening to me. A lot of things with thyroid health and diagnosing properly is actually having a provider listen to you, because a lot of the things cannot be diagnosed as well with blood work as it can with symptoms. So it is critical that they listen to you. Okay, so Hashimoto's and hypothyroid, two of the more common problems with our thyroid. Symptoms can be the same. Many of the symptoms are the same. And, you know, from affecting pregnancy to depression to your cognitive functioning, low energy, weight gain, blah, 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 blah. Okay, all of that stuff. Are they the same thing? No, they are not. They are two different conditions, and the significant difference between them is hypothyroidism is a state of low thyroid function in the body, and Hashimoto's is that damage. Hashimoto's damages your thyroid from inflammation. Okay, I hope I said that properly. So one is the state of having low thyroid hormone in your body. The other is your thyroid is damaged from inflammation. So Hashimoto's and hypothyroid can exist together, but they don't have to. Hashimoto's can send you into hyperthyroidism at any time, or it can put you in hypo. So it sends you on a roller coaster ride of thyroid hormones. It's possible for you to have both hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. But it's also possible for you to have Hashimoto's, but not have hypothyroid. So, and also I believe after all my readings and the things that I'm doing, I believe that Hashimoto's can be reversed. And I think many doctors, thyroid doctors out there, specialists also believe it can be reversed. Hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, remember, refer to the functioning of the thyroid and producing the thyroid hormone. You will see that abbreviated in my blog and in a lot of other places as TH. They don't say anything about the cause. What causes that? Did your thyroid just wake up one day and say, I want to produce too much thyroid hormone? The causes of the two conditions can be different. Medical testing is where this comes in. It can help you get the right diagnosis and help lay out a plan for you and try to help you figure out what your root cause is so that you can get right to that. Nutrient deficient in hypothyroidism, one of the root causes is nutrient deficiencies, including the deficiency of iodine. Removal or damage to your thyroid gland. So if you've had thyroid cancer or had your gland removed for part of your gland removed, exposure to radioactive, radioactive things, x-rays, stuff like that, severe dieting and obesity medications, damages to parts of your brain, a virus, a bacterial infection. Any of these things can cause inflammation of your thyroid gland and cause it to not produce enough. So it's a lot of things that affect our thyroid. For Hashimoto's, exposure to, for example, the Epstein-Barr virus or certain other viruses, having leaky gut, too much or too little of certain nutrients and minerals in your body, stress, chemical exposure, heavy metal exposure, all root causes of Hashimoto's. So how do you know if you have a thyroid problem? So you can check your thyroid health at home. And I have created a thyroid journal for you with a few home activities in it that you can do to see if you might have a problem with your thyroid. There's some home tests you can do that gives you a good indication if you're having some issues. And also a blood test tracker, a medication tracker, a symptom tracker, all that in there for you. The more you do before you go see your care provider, the better off you are. This will also indicate whether you're, I believe everybody probably has things in their life that could have harmed their thyroid functioning. So anyway, blood testing alone is inaccurate. You need to go in armed with your symptoms and as many facts as you can. So anyway, be sure to download that thyroid journal link. I will try to put it below if I can. Last time it wouldn't let me do that. So if not, go to my blog and there will be many links in my blog to that free journal. So what are some of the testing that you could expect the doctor to do on your thyroid? First of all, blood work. Blood, lots of blood work. But like I said, it's not the end-all be-all for diagnosing thyroid problems. They can do thyroid antibody testing. They can do an ultrasound on your thyroid. And they can also do a biopsy, but this is very rare. Only if they suspect, that they need to get a sample of it for a reason, but not for general functioning. So I had said earlier that the rates of thyroid disorders are increasing and more in younger women, younger girls. Why is this? Two factors are nutrient deficiency and autoimmune disease, which is what we've talked about, that impact women more and also girls more now. And more girls, a lot of them start their periods earlier now. So that makes them more on that hormone fluctuation cycle. Also, young people don't take care of themselves as well. I don't believe our food is as nutrient rich as it used to be or as good for our bodies as it used to be. They can also have iodine deficiencies, water sources. You really, really want to explore your water sources. Smoking, fluoride in your water is a big one. Fluoride in general, too much fluoride, bad for thyroid. Pesticides put on things, foods, environment, whatever. A family history of thyroid problems. More and more x-rays, radiation, stress, pregnancy, menopause, all of those things cause hormones to do this, which may affect this. And we see it more and more, as we put more and more, I'm going to call it junk, in our food, our cleaning products. Our environment gets more toxic. It's also more toxic to different functions in our body. So how can you support your thyroid better? Exercise and sleep are two of the big ones. Sometimes if you have a thyroid problem, the sleep part is really hard and the exercise can be hard. But it's important to do these things. It is impossible to avoid, as I said, all the toxins and pollutants in our environment that we are exposed to, but we need to minimize it as much as we can control. If you have a choice between A and B, and A is got all of these phthalates, the blah, blah, blah in them, and B is cleaner, pick B. pick B, and that's something you can do for yourself and your family, and it will make a positive impact on their thyroid health. You also need to make sure you're getting enough iodine and selenium. The thyroid produces two hormones that I talk about more in my blog, T3 and T4, and it needs iodine to produce these. So if you don't have enough iodine to support your thyroid, then you're going to have a problem. Also, you need selenium, which is a very powerful trace mineral. It plays a crucial role in metabolism and hormone synthesis. So those two things are two things that you can add. In my blog, I mentioned some selenium-rich foods that you can add to your diet. Brazil nuts, shiitake and button mushrooms, chia seeds, brown rice. There's a list. So those are two things that you can do for yourself to help, or iodine and selenium, so supplement. You can go gluten-free. I know. There is not a more, bread lover out there than me. But honestly, bread does not love me anymore. And the more I ate of it, the worse I felt. From stomach pains to not being able to make it 10 minutes before I have to find the nearest bathroom, and then be writhing in pain on the floor of the bathroom for 15 minutes. So I am doing my best to go gluten-free. I'm not super duper. I'm not celiac as far as I know, so I don't have to go to extremes with it, but I try not to gluten myself as little as possible, as long as I'm in the US. I do know that when I go to Europe, I did not have that problem. So maybe it's time to move so I can eat bread in France. But basically, gluten contains a protein called gliadin, and I may not be pronouncing that properly. This is a protein that is not found in our body, so our body thinks it's an invader. And it reacts like it's an invader, and the immune system, can attack our thyroid thinking that protein is an invader. And if you eat a gluten-free diet, you get less immune system attacks on your body, because when it attacks, and your thyroid is involved in that. And the more you can reduce that, the more you'll reduce inflammation in your thyroid and in other parts of your body too. Eliminate endocrine disruptors, phthalates. Okay. Hundreds of products, vinyl flooring, lubricant oils, plastics, blah, 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 garden hoses, medical tubing, that kind of thing. I use the Yucca app to scan shampoos and cleaners and stuff when I buy them to see what's in them. It's real easy to use and it's free. So Yucca app. There's other apps out there you can check out if you'd like. But that's my go-to for my cosmetics, and anything you put on your body is going to eventually be in your body. So, and it happens quickly. So, check the fluoride level in your water and in any other products you may be consuming. It only takes a low dose, 2 to 5 milligrams per day over the course of a few months, to reduce the functioning of your thyroid with fluoride. So drinking fluoride-free water could lower your chances of an underactive thyroid by as much as 30%. So that's one important thing you can do. Know what's in your water. And avoid soy, unfermented soy. Many experts believe that soy products can interfere with thyroid health and thyroid medications. I honestly don't go, if I have a choice between a soy-free and a not soy-free product, all things equal, I will pick the non-soy product. And I will go out of my way if I can to avoid soy, but if I can't, then it's okay. My body, I do okay with it. I don't get any immediate problems like I do with gluten. So anyway, those are just some things that you can do to help your thyroid be healthy. I have a lot more tips in my blog, and also some resources for things that I personally use that have helped me. I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis and hypothyroid. So my resources that I've provided in my blog are for those specific things. So anyway, be sure to check out my blog post, www.karenczinc.com. And I hope to see you guys soon. Go pick up my free thyroid tracker for home use. It'll have the directions in there for how to test and what you need. And it's very simple. And I hope that you've learned something in this and that I've presented some information to you that can help you at least when talking with your at least when you talk with your provider. So you take care and be healthy out there.